Hello and welcome to Mind Matters with Sandy and Kathleen. Hi, Sandy.
Hi, Kath. How are you, gorgeous girl?
Good, I'm good. It's Sandy and Sandy and Sandy. We're together. And today is Friday, the 8th of May, 2020. How are you, Sandy?
I am very well. It's a little bit chillier tonight. I did some burning in the paddock today because it's a Friday. I'm allowed to do that.
That's burning of excess timbers in a large paddock, not burning an effigy, not
witches, none of those sort of things. No, I wouldn't do that. I'd probably invite them in instead. No, it was just cleaning up the paddocks, keeping the place tidy. So that was sort of nice. Yeah.
Very productive. Well, I've done a wonderful day of some home education and some clients. So
I have done the same. No home education, not even my own, but I've done a few clients. I just wish I hadn't said that now. I've also had a few clients today.
Ethics Committee will review this video in due course.
Yeah, I think that may be required.
Today, we are going to talk about Mother's Day. So here in Australia, in the Southern Hemisphere, it is Mother's Day on Sunday, the day where we celebrate all things that are glorious about our mummies in our life. And this year, Mother's Day is going to take on a far different form than it has in pretty much any other year in our entire lives. Would you agree?
Absolutely.
So, and there's a lot of people struggling with it because we have had some restrictions lifted in Australia today that they're going to allow 5 visitors to go into people's homes in every state except for Victoria, which we are in Victoria. And we can't have any visitors. We have to celebrate on our own, and it's caused a lot of angst. So we thought we'd have a bit of a chat about Mother's Day, what it means, what you can do to still celebrate it, and also about not creating drama.
And perception.
And perception. And perspective.
And perspective. All those P words.
So where would you like to begin?
Except for the D word.
Except for the D word. Where would you like to begin?
Perhaps about drama and perspective.
Yeah.
I need to roll them together. So
some of the things that I've read online, should I go through some of the comments? You've ruined my Mother's Day. Ruined my Mother's Day because I cannot see my grandchildren. I want to hug my grandchildren and I cannot see them. You have ruined my Mother's Day because I won't be able to cook a meal for my family. You have just, I'm heartbroken and distressed. This is ridiculous. This is ridiculous that I'm being controlled and told that I can't love my children the way that I normally would love my children, that I can't see my children. I can't see them. I'm not going to be able to see them. And my life is over, more or less.
Okay, and you wrote all of that.
I read all. I've spent the last few days reading these sorts of comments, and then people putting little sad faces on those comments. And
yeah. So the thing is that no one asked for COVID-19. No one. And that's worldwide. So let's do a blanket version of perhaps a bit of perspective. How Mother's Day is just one day of the year.
Of your life.
Of your life. One day of this year, one day of your life, for however long it is. So the thing is that it is really nice to have some goalposts in our lives that give us little gentle reminders about the importance of loving each other, the importance of family, the importance of mothers, fathers, uncles, aunties, neighbours, the whole bit. Firefighters, we've got everything. So the fact that this Sunday in Australia is the elbow in the side, be nice to your mother, and people, guess what? People feel this day that don't have their mothers, and they have that feeling every day of Mother's Day, but it's highlighted for them a little bit that there's maybe a little bit not there.
So I have to say, I refuse to go down that emotional path of, you should be thankful that you even have a mother still alive, because a lot of people are missing their mothers that don't have them, which you are in that boat. You miss your mother. You don't have. I still have mine, so I still have mine on the other end of the phone. I won't be seeing her, obviously, on Sunday.
Are you going to Zoom her?
No, I probably won't. It's interesting. Like, I've always cherished my mother, and I find Mother's Day, it doesn't heighten on those, like, that my care and love for her and my respect for her does not change on that day. I don't heighten it and go, Mum, this is your day. I do that all throughout the year. So, and a lot of people say that too. Oh, every day should be Mother's Day, and no.
Yep.
Sorry.
Yep. So, no. Well, the thing is that while we get these gentle reminders, Christmas is usually about family. Some people it's a Christian celebration, etc. So the thing is that it is only one day, and what it is that there's a myriad of ways that you can express love and understanding, appreciation, and that can be done any day of the week. Can be done any day, any part of the year. It doesn't matter. It's really the only thing is, from a horticultural point of view, it's when the chrysanthemums are beautifully blooming. So, but
you heard it here. You heard it here on the Mind Matters podcast that chrysanthemums are the flower of Mother's Day. So, if I ask you some questions, so if you see your mother face to face and hug your mother, or give her flowers hand to hand them to her, does that mean that the love and the bond and the relationship is stronger because you've done that in person?
Oh, of course it does.
The recording, she's shaking her head if you're not watching this on YouTube.
Yeah. You go, Kath.
Nice. It is nice to be able to hug your mother, give her a kiss, hold her hand, as she might be. Like, my grandmother is in a care facility. She wouldn't know whether I was there with her or not, but it's nice that, like, my mother can go and hold her hand and do all those things on Mother's Day, but it doesn't change the feeling that they share between each other. And if they can't see each other on Mother's Day, it doesn't diminish the relationship.
Yeah, and as you said, like, you get the emails and you read stuff on Facebook, my life is ruined. It's the same as when Kath and I did the podcast on creating drama about the brides that sit back and, oh my God, the wedding photos were this, and, my marriage for the rest of my life is going to be ruined. Because there's such an emphasis. And because we've got the COVID-19, the emphasis is that anything that jangles a reduction in, because, we have reduction in what we can do. So if there is more, because there was a huge push in Victoria and Australia to be, lifted for Mother's Day. But the reality is that I don't think a pandemic sort of caters for Mother's Day, just let that restriction up. But within that, yeah, so it's like you say, so you sit back and you go, well, it's still nice to be able to go, hey, Mum, I love you. I can't do that because my mum's dead. But I can certainly think about her, and I think about her not just on Mother's Day. I think about her other days. So, you sit back and you go, is it a point to focus on the day that incident ruining Mother's Day? I would think that it would be nice to be able to switch yourself over into appreciation of all the things that you have around you, and especially your mum. And your mum is, a phone call, a card. There's so many things. The fact that, maybe traditionally you would sit down with her and have lunch or take her out for dinner or whatever. Be creative. It's like we said about dating online. Be creative. Send your mum, an Uber Eats. No, send
So,
her.
yeah, there's people doing exactly that.
Do it like a date night where you sit round with the whole family and have dinner, even though you're in different locations.
I should probably organise that. We should probably have brunch with Mum.
That's what I was thinking. That's why I said, are you doing? Because you do the group.
The grandkids,
sort of thing.
all of her grandkids have got, so we can all do that. And it doesn't have to be for a long period.
And guess what? You could do all Uber Eats and have all exactly the same thing.
Yeah, that's it. You could do, that's right. You could all do that. Although I'd just be there with my almond milk hot chocolate. But
out of control, Kath.
Out of control. 2 marshmallows or 3. I don't even have 3 because it's Mother's Day.
So you sit back and think, why create the drama? What is the perception behind that? And I sort of understand that, people are feeling, I think the majority of people get the broader context of what's happening with us. And I mean that. I think most people really do get the broader context. But it's a little bit heightened when we have a special occasion. So sometimes that perception can become a little bit skewy. And and when you think kindly about yourself and kindly about others, it becomes easier, I think.
I think too, feeling like you're missing out or something's been taken away from you has been the order of the day the last sort of 6 or 7 weeks, that we're losing things. We're losing more than we're gaining. It's, as far as freedoms go. But if you focus on what we still have, which is we are still here, and we have technology, it's not 1918 and we're not heading into that kind of Spanish flu pandemic where we have to write a letter and send it, 3 suburbs over or anything like that. We can Zoom at the drop of a hat. We can pick up the phone. We can Skype. We can do FaceTime, depending on what sort of and you can't be there. But I also think that there's a bonus to this that that I'm not seeing, not many people are sort of bringing up. But we're not forced to travel on this day. So as a mother myself, I have no reason to get in the car now and drive around on my Mother's Day. So rather than honouring the person that's in the next generation above by giving up my entire Mother's Day to look, which I do for her, I did for my mother-in-law as well, I actually get to take this year off and I can stay at home and honour my own self rather than somebody else, and also still love Mum in the process.
Yeah. And there are so many things that I think that, this season, I was saying to Kath, I sort of try and think of this like a season more than anything else, is that within that there's a lot of self-reflection, and that's a good thing. More often than not it is. So you sit back and go, so that when potentially there is less restrictive sort of visiting, rules and stuff, you become quite more appreciative of it as well. So it actually, within that, that's that balance, that's that perception. You go, and so then it becomes sweeter, perhaps, when you get to spend some extra time with someone and you get the perception and not the drama. You start moving away from that into a positive.
I mean, you can plan for the future as well. When you think, like my family, we often get together for birthdays, for people's birthdays, and obviously Christmas and Mother's Day and Father's Day. So I would say that because we've already missed one birthday get together and a Mother's Day, we've got another 4 before the end of July, there's another 4 birthday get-togethers that we're missing out on. So that's basically what we see, a lot of each other between sort of April and the end of July. So we haven't discussed it, but I'm certain that it will come up at some point, that we will have a collective get-together when we're safely able to, that will incorporate all of these birthdays. We'll just have cake, there'll be food, because basically all of our get-togethers are pretty much the same. We all get along very well, and often we forget what we're actually there for. We're there together, not worrying about what we're there to celebrate. So, sorry, sorry, Archie, it's your birthday. Forgot about that. Yeah, okay. But we're all there together enjoying each other's company because we all get along well. We have a great time. We eat the nice food. We sing happy birthday or give dad presents or whatever it is, depending on who's having one. But I would just about be certain that come September, October, when we're safely able to do, and it might not be around the date of anybody else's birthday, there will be a get-together in my family.
And who knows, that may well become another tradition.
It may be that we just get together whenever we can. And we do that occasionally as well. So, but it doesn't need to be a special occasion to get together and just enjoy each other's company.
Yeah, so, you know, I suppose the thing is that I think the thing is that it's not ruining our lives.
No.
It's not, you know, I mean, it's not the be all and end all to physically be there, to physically give a gift. The whole sort of perception is the thought. And even for a birthday or Christmas or whatever, it's the thought behind the emotion that is the biggest gift out of everything. It's not the physical or the cost or anything like that. So that expression of appreciation and love comes from the heart.
So really we've spoken about what it is if you miss out on going to see your mother, but the other side of the coin is that there's mothers missing out on seeing their children. And I've seen equally as amount of comments of people going,
yes,
but I need my children to visit me so that I know that they love me. And if that is the thought process running through your head, that you need a visit on Mother's Day, because if you don't, then you think there's a problem, then you need to address that as well and ask yourself why you need that to feel loved. If you've got a good relationship, I should say, if everything's fine, why do you feel like you need them there? Is that loneliness? Is there a loneliness factor to that? Is there a lack of communication? Are you feeling like you're not connecting with? All of those things should be addressed, not just because you feel like the government has taken away your ability to celebrate Mother's Day the way that you would want it to.
And it's not even the government, they're responding to an outside stimulus.
They're responding to a once in a general, multi-generation, once in a century situation that nothing is going to be exactly the way that you like it. And I think it was Piers Morgan that said, this is the generation of people that have never had no said to them.
Yes.
That we've always had yes, yes. And now people are being told, you know what, at the moment, no, you can't do this. And it doesn't mean we live in a dictatorship, and it doesn't mean they're trying to control everything. What they're trying to do is actually support us and assist us. And yeah, it's quite frightening, the amount of people that think that we are being controlled, and we're not being controlled. You can basically go up and do whatever you want, but you are going to wear the consequences of that.
Or other people.
Or other people will wear the consequences.
Oh, there's another one. Actually, we didn't even touch on that. You know, that obviously the mothers are usually the older ones, you know, and it may not be safe. So the thing to show love and to show appreciation is to physically perhaps not move around and physically not be there. That is a sign of respect and love as well.
My parents have been self-isolating for 7 or 8 weeks now, and I would hate to turn that around in a heartbeat, not knowing that. I mean, there's asymptomatic spread with this virus. There's no doubt about it. They've shown that in all the countries that have been really severely dealing with it. So I would hate to be the one that turned up to mums and wiped out their 7 or 8 weeks of self-isolation.
Yeah, yeah. And, you know, it's sort of that sort of thing that you go, that's something that I can also give.
Yeah.
You know, and it's a really, really nice thing. You know, and I still like the inclusive thought that we're all in this together in, you know, not in the same boat. I mean, I know for me, I am, and Kath, I think I said it on one of the other podcasts, and it's still the same. I miss hugging people. You know, I really do. I'm a hugger, and it fulfills something in me to hug someone and to share that energy. So I really miss you know, just hugging someone. I mean, I have people here, I'm sure that both my partner and my daughter are a bit over.
And the dog and the horses.
Yeah, I do have bigger things, like, but do you know what I mean? It's sort of that,
it's
you know,
not ruining your life.
Yeah, because as a therapist, I'm a hugger. You know, Kath, you know, no client gets to leave my room without a hug. And, you know, I obviously always ask permission, but I just go, no, I can't do it. And, you know, so many of my clients are on Zoom.
It's, everyone's making a transition. We were talking about home education before and how difficult that is, and being for a lot of people. And I know that I'm, you know, crawling up walls with it a lot of the time, but still trying to adjust as well. And this is just another thing that we're going to need to adjust to. There's going to be birthdays, and people have cancelled all sorts of events and travel, and it is just a short moment in time, really, in the big scheme of your life. If you live the life expectancy of years, and you have to spend 6 months of those trying to preserve your own life, then really and those of the loved ones around you, it's a very short moment in time. And I guarantee you that in 5 years' time, this will be a distant, if we're lucky and we're all still here, it's a distant memory.
And if it gives us collectively, I'm going to say mindfulness or awareness of appreciation of the people and things that we have around us at a different and deeper level, that then, I know that I'm sounding a bit religious, and I'm not meaning to be, but I can't think of a better word. Then we're blessed if we get something from this that gives us that awareness, that gets us to carry forward from into the future, where we are more aware of how, you know, how to treat our fellow human beings, you know, with kindness, and be glad that we're here, and be, you know, thankful that we can say every once in a while, hey, you know, to your work colleague, hey, good job, thank you, you know, I appreciate you. If we get to do that more, and that this space is giving that to us, even if we're not allowed to physically be with our mums, and that we come out of that with a heightened awareness, that is an absolute gift.
I agree. And I also think, as in the same sort of, or not the same relation to that, but a little bit differently, not to be swayed by media hype and panic, media generating panic. I did talk a little bit about it on my Facebook page today, about how the media creates storms with headlines, because the media need you to click on stories, to comment, to share things, because that is how they get their readership levels up. And then readership means advertising dollars. They can charge more. So it's all about money. And there's several headlines that I noticed. There's a couple of Facebook pages that are very, very good at it. And I've noticed I get Herald Sun notifications. That's our local paper here in Melbourne. I get notifications of the headlines that come up, and they are doing things to merely grab you to click on it. Things like, Victorian parents still do not know when their children will return to school. Now that's true, but they grab you in to have, oh my God,
the drama, get the drama going.
Drama. And I've said this morning, there's a number of headlines that you can put on any parenting Facebook page that will make you feel like you need to comment and read it. First of all, breastfeeding in public should not be allowed.
Oh, that old chestnut.
Oh God, here we go. You know, we've got every person's got it, and that can generate. So what that does, it's clickbait. It's straight away. It's clickbait.
Yeah.
Or single mothers don't have it as hard as they make out.
That old chestnut.
That'll do it every time.
COVID-19 is ruining Mother's Day.
COVID, mothers won't be able to see their children on Mother's Day due to Daniel Andrews' measure. No, actually, it's not the reason that you're not able to see your mother. Even if Daniel Andrews was telling you that you should, and your mother's in a compromised position, then you would make a judgment call that is best for everybody. So yes, there's lots of headlines out there, and I've encountered a number of people on my Facebook friends list and also as clients that have found the media coverage of this pandemic a little overwhelming, to say the least, and that I've watched people basically crash and burn. Largely, the ones that have really crashed and burned have been caught up in conspiracy theories. So there's a lot of people out there with hidden agendas that we're using.
They're great, Kath. Some of them are amazing.
Some of them are just, and I read one this morning about COVID testing and why you shouldn't have COVID testing. And it was just drawing such a long bow. And I knew from the scientific, and it was, anyone can make a YouTube video. Look at us. We're making YouTube.
I'm just sitting here nodding.
People get there with a white coat and a clipboard, and they go and they talk in this way, and they have a great PowerPoint slideshow, and they tell you how, these PCR tests aren't going to be, they're not accurate, and they're picking and choosing the information that they put in the video to meet their agenda, which is to get people following them, because they've got other agendas as well.
So what we're saying is, this isn't going to ruin your Mother's Day.
It's not going to ruin your
Be aware, use some free will of thinking, and go to that really nice place of feeling.
If you're finding it hard reading comments about people missing out on Mother's Day, go away from social media. Go and call your mum if you can.
Yeah.
If you can't, do something else that
do you know what I do, Kath? Because mum was a cream sherry drinker. Actually, I haven't got a bottle of cream sherry.
Yeah.
And normally I will sit down, and I've got a little glass, and I'll pour one out for mum, one out for myself, and I'll sit down on Mother's Day with a glass of, and I'm advertising here, McWilliams cream sherry, which is now called Apira, and I sit there and I'll have a glass of sherry for mum.
See, that's a nice thing to do. No media involved.
None at all. And if I can get, a bonfire going, then all the better.
So look for the pleasures. Focus on what you do have, not what you don't have.
Yeah.
On the one.
And we are I'm so grateful to be in this country.
So am I, very much so. And yes, it has been difficult over the last 7 or 8 weeks, and I can tell you we're going to get another 14 to 16, 18, 20 weeks more of difficult things, that anything can happen from here.
I tell you what, okay, maybe we need to do some of those, catchy videos. What do you think? I mean, I'd love to get some feedback from listeners.
What sort of headlines you could think?
Yeah, what sort of headlines? Counsellors go wild. But appreciate your mums. Appreciate yourself. Be kind, and take it into a positive. Like, this is, going away from the media hype. Take your thoughts higher.
Plan something for the future. Plan something.
Yeah.
It doesn't, it's sometimes we don't get to celebrate things the way that we want to. Birthdays, you might get sick on your birthday and you can't celebrate it the way you would, but doesn't mean you can't do it, go out for dinner 3 days later.
Or decorate the bucket that you're vomiting into.
I wasn't going down that path.
Oh, I am. Why not?
But you may, and just because it's not happening on the day, you can still do it.
But it is happening on the day, and it's okay.
But the get-together, I mean the physical get-together, do it when you can.
Yeah.
Do it when you can.
Yeah, because it will be, because, and I think, and Kath and I were talking about this just prior to starting recording, and I think that, probably the majority of people do the right thing.
Mm.
And, you know, the majority of people do have that ability to take it into a positive space. It's when we get caught up and swept up into it, that's where that free will comes in. And be proud of yourself if you can move yourself out of that into, you know, a much more aware space. It's a very, very good attribute to have.
And if you're sitting there saying, I'm not going to be told what to do, ask yourself why you feel that way.
Don't tell me what to do. I'm now just being obtuse.
We'll explore that.
Yeah, another day.
But thank you for joining us this evening or this afternoon or from wherever you are across the world.
And I'm going to say happy Mother's Day to all the mothers that are there and all the mothers that are not there. We all came from somewhere and they were mothers.
That's exactly right. Also, happy Mother's Day to all the people that consider themselves to be mothers or to mother someone, to be motherly.
Yeah, because you could be a dad mum.
That's right. Mothers come in many, many different forms, And some, you know, and also be kind to your mother as well. We're not all perfect, like you and I.
Well, Kath is.
I am.
Yeah.
I am.
You know, I just, you know, but I'm doing well. You know, I've got a 22-year-old that is, I reckon, a pretty good functioning human being. Not quite sure how she did it, but I'm bustingly proud of her.
So if you're watching this on YouTube, it is available as a podcast as well on iCloud, iTunes, iHeartradio, all the I's, and SoundCloud. Did I say that? No, I don't think I
don't know.
Feedback or questions, skyewellbeingcentre@bigpond.com. We welcome your feedback. We welcome suggested topics. Tell us how you're going through this pandemic. We want to hear all about it. And we will be back soon as we can with another wonderful topic to discuss. But until then, bye, Sandy.
Bye, Kath.